The Utes land at 14 in the first official college football rankings of the 2022 season. Personally, I wanted to see them at 12. I actually thought they would be at 14 just because of, look, the Pac-12, usually perception-wise, not going to get as highly favored as a lot of the other conferences. So wasn't surprised to see Utah go to 14. The two teams that I wanted to see Utah above, LSU as well as Kansas State. Let's start with LSU. You can definitely see the argument for LSU being high. LSU being top 10 is a little rich. Probably doesn't hurt that they play Alabama this week, so now that game is a top 10 billing. But personally, I feel like that Utah is a better team than LSU. They're just going to have to prove it the rest of the way. When you look at LSU, though, look, they beat Florida. Utah didn't. They're also coming off a big win over Ole Miss, so give them a lot of credit there. So I can understand why they're ahead, but I feel like that Florida State loss is still not a very good look on them. But hey, obviously Utah's loss to Florida doesn't look very good either at this point in the season. Another one that catches my eye is Kansas State being above Utah, and look, I can see it because they have nice wins against Oklahoma State. Were extremely impressive in that one. If you also look at just on the season what they did to Oklahoma is still unbelievable. But the loss to Tulane, yes, Tulane's a good team, and still a loss to Tulane, which is a worse loss than the Florida loss to me. Still, I just feel like if Tulane was in an SEC schedule, I just don't think they'd be able to survive that gauntlet. Through this point, Tulane is a better team than Florida, but I feel like at some point that's going to change, and I feel like at the end of the year will be valued more Florida, especially if they played that kind of a schedule. But either way, give credit to Tulane for what they've done. And Kansas State, their only other loss to TCU, which if any team got shafted by the committee, it was TCU. So I can't be too mad about where Utah lands at 14 because, yeah, TCU at 8 is a little far back in my opinion. But the Pac-12 overall makes it out really good. You have, obviously, UCLA was going to be ahead of Utah, Oregon, USC still understandably so. All those teams, of course, only with one loss. So got to like the place the conference is in. Got to really like where Utah's at as well. Still have the matchup versus Oregon. And if you beat Oregon, you're going to have an opportunity to play another one of those ranked Pac-12 teams, more than likely going to be USC in my opinion. So opportunity to really strengthen that schedule and set yourselves up to be one of the highest ranked teams. I mean, there's a world Utah could finish this in the top 6 for sure, rankings wise, which is kind of where they started the year out. So crazy. You can still get there 2 losses later, but 14, a little far back for my liking, but not bad place to be in at all. And I think this Utah team still has a really good chance to move ahead. Honestly, I thought Penn State was going to be ahead of Utah. So I think the fact that Utah's already ahead of them shows this committee still likes this Utah team and believes in what they're capable of doing. So Utes land at 14 officially with a great opportunity to move up. Make sure you guys stick with Locked On Utes all week as we break down these rankings as well as their upcoming game versus Arizona.